My name is Stacy Cox, and I am the Director of the Champaign County Department of Job and Family Services. I am pleased to share with you a series of video blogs that highlight child protective services through the eyes of our community and our staff. Child protective services is an extremely complex field where employees often find themselves experiencing secondary trauma and high levels of burnout. Despite these heavy challenges our staff face, this is also some of the most meaningful work out there. I hope these blogs help to provide you a broad level perspective of the important work of Child Protective Services staff here in Champaign County.
Sure, I'm Jennifer Young, and I'm an ongoing worker here. So, as an ongoing caseworker, it means that there's still a need for the family to have services. Even if the child's still placed in the home, we need to maybe provide more services or long term services in the home. So, that's kind of what an ongoing caseworker does. If they're in foster care, then we work towards reunification. Um, but it's all about, getting the family back together. Well, I've been in this area for a long time, like over 25 years, so I'm dating myself. Um, so originally, everybody as a social worker, we were going to save the world, right? And over the years, I think what I've realized is um, families have to save themselves, parents have to save themselves, right? And so it's our job to go in and help protect the kids so that the parents can get the help they need. And so that's kind of what our process is. I love working with families and seeing that progress. Um, and sometimes, there isn't any progress. I mean, drug activity is tremendous, and it's 80% of our cases, and so it's causing a huge um, disability in parents being able to stay with their kids. Well, I've only been here for a little bit, but it's really a small agency, and it's very personable, and we get to be kind of decision makers, where our ideas are important and we're consulted for those ideas. It's yeah, and it's very flexible, super flexible. Like, if I need to go to a doctor's appointment, it's not a problem for you to do that. You can do that. And everybody is very team oriented. So if there's something I need or something one of my coworkers need, even if it's in intake and they need me to go make a home visit because they don't have time, I can do that. So we're very much, working together. So a typical day, for ongoing, it can be a little more consistent than intake. Ongoing, we kind of get to set our appointments, so we know, what home visits we have. Most of the time now, especially with technology, um, we can get information transferred to our clients really easily. If they, have a phone, and I think that's the biggest thing that I've kind of watched through my child welfare career is technology has made such a difference in communicating with our clients. I mean, they can text us. So they can text me something maybe the night before, and I can respond first thing in the morning, right? So the ability to communicate with them has just improved greatly. I, everybody says the government phones or whatever, that really helps us for them to, because a lot of times people get their phone disconnected or, their electricity out or things like that. We now have the ability to communicate so much easier with our clients. So that's something I find really nice. And on a daily basis, we're making contact with those clients. We can meet needs pretty quickly. Uh, the home visits. I always love to go out in the community. I'm not a person to sit behind my desk. I think that's why I like social services so much, is because I'm out in the field, whether it's with collaborators, therapists, providers, those kind of things, or meeting with the families one on one. So that's usually typical. Um, well, I think the uniqueness is there's laws, and it's not that long ago that we didn't even protect children. We protected animals before we protected children. And when I worked at a previous county, I could name all the directors. We just haven't been around that long to be always on kind of the precipice of helping kids, and knowing what we can do to kind of assist them to make it further in their life decisions. So I think kind of there's a law, and we have laws to follow. And I think a lot of times people think, well, it just you decide whether you take the kids or not. And that's not true. And I think, when I was in college, that's what I thought is, oh, they just get to choose, right? But when you come here, you learn that there are laws and we have to follow those laws. So I think that makes it unique. But I also think there's a lot of flexibility in that uniqueness, how creative we can be with providing services for the family. And I think, especially here, since we're smaller, we get that ability to kind of be creative. That's a good question because I recently came back. Um, so I was training software previous to this, and then I came back to children's services. And I think what I really do love about it is working with the families and being able to, and especially, I mean, once again, my age is being given away, but I think I've become wiser over the years, and being able to actually read through some of the things that maybe the family's trying to hide or not wanting to share out of fear, being able and really being able to meet them where they are, not going in with expectations of what I have, like, you got to go to drug treatment, you got to clean your house, you got to get your kids to school, you got to, and sometimes you got to walk in the door and meet them right there, and just stay right there for a minute until there's a lot of barriers out there. And especially for some of the people, transportation seems to be the biggest one, right? And being in Champaign County, it's very small, so there are some programs that offer that, but you have to know. And a lot of our agents, or a lot of our clients, don't even know what's out there. And so hearing children's services come in can be, really scary. But once they get to know, especially me, they love me and they enjoy, working with us and being able to provide those services for them. I kind of think I said it before. It's that we have laws, we have things that we have to do legally, but I think the biggest thing is prevention. I think that's our number one mission, is to prevent it all, right from the get go. Whether that's being out in the community, just having people see us and work with us, or that's holding at a health fair that we show up and people can talk to us about certain things or that they're concerned. The other stigma is people can call us for help. I literally just had a conversation with a community provider that I said, if she's struggling, she can call and ask us for services. It's not always that we're, calling in abuse and neglect. We're actually here to provide services for you. And I think that's a big misnomer. Well, I mean, yeah, stories can come, to mind of all the cases that I dealt with. But when I was out of children's services and I was working in a, for-profit job, I happened to be going through TSA one day, and one of the TSA officers came up to me and said, um, "Are you Jennifer Young?" And I was like, "Oh God, that can't be good." And he said, and I said, "Yeah." And he said, "You used to work for Children's Services." And I said, "Yeah, I did." And he said, "You saved my family." And I was like, "Well, that's a lot of credit to put on these shoulders, right?" And he said, "We didn't know we had twin baby boys and we didn't know what we were doing. And the intake worker came in and we were scared and it got on to ongoing. And you really helped us with those services." And of course, I went back to him and I said, "No, you saved your family. You did all the work. I just gave you the tools." And so that's always kind of stuck with me that, we, even the little things, just getting these kids doctors was a really important thing for them. They didn't understand, we just had twin boys. Where do we go? What do we need to do? And so just that little story all the time reminds me that the little things make a difference in this job.
Thank you for taking the time to learn more about what our Child Protective Services staff do here on behalf of children and families in Champaign County.